The views, opinions, and representations expressed on the Night Dreams Talk Radio Network and its website are those of the hosts, guests, and participants, and are not necessarily those of or endorsed by the network, its affiliated stations and broadcasts, the management, other hosts, or advertisers of the network. The shows found on the Night Dreams Talk Radio Network can, but do not necessarily, promote any particular lifestyle, belief, religion, political affiliation, or other personal practice. These shows are for entertainment purposes only and are not intended to treat, diagnose, and or claim any cure of disease or condition or give any medical or legal advice. You are listening to Night Dreams Talk Radio Network, from our compound to you worldwide, with your host, Gary Anderson.
Well, that's me, at least most of the time, depending on who's calling on the phone. Hey, today has been one of those days again. About a half an hour before we went on air, Skype went down nationwide. Yeah, that was really scary. Then I got Skype back up, and then the internet went down. But here we are. Anyway, we're on our backs up system, and we're going strong. I hope everybody has had a great day. I hope where you live, you're not getting hit with a lot of snow and ice and heavy wind and all that stuff. I don't know. Earth change, as far as I can tell. Again, I keep always talking about what is happening in Antarctica is now starting to affect us worldwide. Well, unless you got your head under your pillow, then I don't think anything will affect you. Well, tonight we got a great guest. If you're into sci-fi slasher type movies, we have Nick Centers. We twisted his arm, and he is going to be on tonight talking about all these great movies, including Vincent Price, right after this.
Please check out the Night Dreams Talk Radio website at www.nightdreamstalkradio.com. Also, if you want to keep our show free of advertising, just hit the donate button. Give $1 or $2. Remember, all prior shows are always free to listen to. We at Night Dreams Talk Radio thank you for your support.
You should be able to envision the torches and hear the screams that echoed through here.
Well, Nick, I hope you're there, and you're on Night Dreams Talk Radio with me, Gary, and it is After Dark. How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing great, Gary. How you doing tonight?
I don't know. The old expression, doing bullets, I won't say what the first word was, because now we're on radio stations besides the internet, but I'll tell you, Skype went down nationally about a half an hour before I called you. That really got me scared. And then, our internet went down, and that even scared me more. And I figured, oh, no, I don't want to cancel another show because it's been too much, cancellation. We were off the air for a week because we had 2.5 feet of snow. The internet cables from Comcast, actually severed themselves. How's the weather been your way, Nick?
In Kentucky, the weather's always picky. One day it's 60 degrees, and the next night it's snowing. So, we can't seem to get spring on track here just yet. It's like Mother Nature's bipolar.
I don't know. Things are going strange here. Where I live, I've been here now almost 20 years. Maybe every other year or maybe every third year we get maybe a half inch to inch of snow, and it'd be gone like the next day. So I never worried about it. This time it dumped where I'm at, 2.5 feet. That was kind of weird because in 20 years I haven't seen that. And then last year in March, our typical weather in March around here at Gig Harbor, Washington is around 40-some degrees, maybe middle 40s. We hit 91 for one day. 91 degrees in, like the beginning of March. That was so crazy.
Wow, 91 degrees.
91. I mean, there was people were running around, in tank tops, and all this stuff. And then the next day it was back down in the 40s.
Now, we had a day last week here where it hit about 63. And then just as soon as the next day rolled around, it dumped about 2.5 inches of snow.
Yeah, I don't know. And they, some people, they say all the news is fake, correct? So anything that the networks tell you, the newspapers, what few they're still around, that's all fake news. But then, whatever comes out of Washington, D.C. is fake. So who do you believe? I kind of go outside and just put my finger up in the air and, hey, whatever.
Right. Yeah, that's generally how I do it anymore, because our weather service is just, they tend to tell you one thing and then just the opposite happens.
Oh, yeah.
So,
well, you're lucky you don't live in Florida. One of my friends live in Florida, and I keep making fun of him. I said, you know what? Save your money and buy a houseboat. And he goes, no, I just had a new house built. And I said, well, where are you at? And he said, well, I'm near to the Keys. I said, you know what? Go buy a houseboat. Sell your house real quick. Do it in the next year or so and buy yourself a nice houseboat. He goes, why? And I said, well, you can anchor it where your house used to be. So
yeah, that would probably be good.
Yeah, and you can go fishing right out there, at the same time, and get all this irradiated fish.
Haven't heard about any irradiated fish there.
Well, maybe there on the Pacific, over here in the Pacific Ocean, up in Washington State, Oregon, California, some of the salmon has been coming where you can almost glow in the night. You take it and you bring it in your house and you get ready to skin it and all that stuff. And if you turn your lights, that's not true. But they've been finding fish here that have high radiation levels in it. And I don't know if you know this, but Japan has all this. They don't know what to do with all the storage because the reactors are still going at it, and they have all this toxic irradiated water, and they're at the point pretty soon where they're going to have to dump it in the ocean.
Oh, referring to the Fukushima plant. Yeah, I know about that.
Oh, yeah. Well, guess what? Maybe some of these new movies coming out in the next few years will be maybe not movies. They'll be just news clips of all these creatures coming out of the ocean.
Hey, it's a good possibility.
So, what do you want to get started in on horror movies? What type is your favorite, and tell us why, and let's get into it.
I really have a soft spot for B movies. Like the trauma films, like Lloyd Kaufman makes, like The Toxic Avenger, things like that, Terra Firma, Redneck Zombies, things like that. Because they try so hard. They don't have a budget, very big budget, should I say. But, it just seems like they try really hard, and the movie ends up being so bad, it's good.
Well, I don't know if you get Comet TV on the cable where you live at, but it's like my number one thing I watch. The movies when I was a kid, I'm 67. So when I was like 10, 13, 14, maybe even younger too. I used to watch these movies and get scared, or my dad, when he wanted me to go to bed early, would flip on some sci-fi movie. It was scary, and it would scare me. Now I sit back with the popcorn and I sit there, with my soda, and I'm watching this thing and keep my wife awake all night, laughing my head off.
Yeah, I tend to do that myself anymore. I'll sit and watch older movies that I used to watch when I was a kid, like Gargoyles or Critters or Gremlins or something like that. Something that used to scare me when I was small, and sit there and actually laugh at it now. And now it's become a nostalgic soft spot for me. Like, I love the horror genre so much that, it's just nostalgia when I go back that far.
Oh, yeah. I like the old Hammer movies, with the vampires, all the blood and all that stuff. And one of my friends actually is on my show quite often, Ron Fitzgerald. Besides being a world famous, magician in the realm, dark realm, I should say, he also has been in a lot of movies where he's either starred or second, in some of these movies. And, he told me back years ago, like they would put these like little tubes on him, underneath his clothing. So when he got killed, all this blood would pump out and all this stuff. Now it's all done digitally.
Right. Practical effects is a dying art, and some of the best effects in film are still practical to this day. CGI is good, don't get me wrong, but there is just no substitute for old school splatter.
Oh, yeah. You mean where the blood is just like dripping and all that stuff.
Right.
Yeah. Somehow, the stuff, like when you watch like the Walking Dead and all, you see this blood, just, fake blood just flying in the air. It's not the same thing as, I don't know. It's not scary. It's not exciting.
No, it just loses something in CGI. It really does. And it kind of makes me sad to see that they're not using some of the practical effects anymore, because a lot of them still stand up to this day.
Oh, yeah. Well, Carol mentioned Rob Zombie. She's listening to us. I think, he makes some of the best movies. And there's some rumor he's coming back. Who's that guy? I can't remember his name. He used to be dressed like in a clown outfit, and be, selling chicken out of the gas station. And he made a couple of those type movies, if you know who I'm talking about.
Sid Haig. He played Captain Spaulding. He's actually been in a couple of different films. There's an older movie he was in a while back, and I can't really recall the name of it. It was more of a sci-fi film, but it was really good. And I still can't recall the name of it to save my life. But no, he's a brilliant actor. The Captain Spaulding character is actually one of my very favorites.
Well, did you hear in the news that he signed on to make another?
I did, and they're actually close to finished with it, last I heard.
Isn't that exciting?
Yes, it is, absolutely. Rob Zombie, the trilogy he made with House of a Thousand Corpses, The Devil's Rejects, and then this one, I think the title is Three from Hell. It's supposed to finish up the trilogy.
Oh, wow. I just like, I just remember those movies were so scary. And you know what? I honestly, depending on my mood, and if it comes on, on late night TV and I watch it, I get goosebumps.
Right. And that's the beauty of the horror genre. You get away from the norm for just a minute, and then you let yourself lapse into that adrenaline.
Oh, yeah. And all the blood.
Mm-hmm.
So that...
Now, the Rob Zombie films, I mean, they're actually really good. His versions of Halloween were really good. I wasn't so big on the second one. The first one was an absolute masterpiece.
Why didn't you like the second one, Nick?
The second Halloween, to me, it didn't focus as